What's up, everybody? Peter Ariz here alongside Chase Romero. We are here with Group Chat Sports, and Euro 2024 is upon us, Chase. Taking a look at some of these groups. We're going to be breaking down every single group, giving you our predictions, and kind of giving you the lay of the land, looking at every team, some of their recent results and whatnot. You see, Chase and I have some Euro themed jerseys on right here. Got
Portugal,
the goat on.
baby.
I got the three lions. Chase, how you feeling, man?
Feeling great, man. It's finally here. This is one of my favorite competitions. Europe usually tends to have the biggest stars, the best players. You see them week in, week out on the big stage in Europe, and it's a tough competition. There's always good games, and I can't wait for this one.
Yeah, man. Again, here at Group Chat Sports, we're gonna have you covered all summer with Euros, Copa America as well. So stay tuned. A ton of content coming your way. We've been kind of slowly rolling stuff out here, but remember to hit the like button on this video, subscribe to the channel, and follow us on Instagram, Twitter page coming this week as well. You can follow us there. We have these pick videos, but we're going to keep bringing you stuff on social media as well, so make sure to follow us there. All right, Chase, Group A. This is a tough group, man, and you got the host country, Germany, here. You have Hungary, you have Scotland, you have Switzerland. We're going to go through each of these teams individually a bit here, some more than others, obviously, but then we'll go into our predictions for the group. But we will start with Germany. And again, host country, so they did not have to go through the qualifying here. Julian Nagelsmann as head coach, a lot of hype around his hire coming in, really trying to fix things up there. It hasn't been a great run for them, especially after the World Cup here. But this is a loaded side. Everyone understands the talent on this team, the young talent, the older talent. But your thoughts about this group coming in to the Euros, Chase?
Yeah, I mean, Germany, they're, like you said, stacked. They have players everywhere, and the hiring of Nagelsmann, I feel like once that happened, I feel like the tide turned for them. The country got a little more excited. I feel like before they weren't playing like a brand of football that they could be proud of. Also, Nagelsmann was able to pull Toni Kroos out of retirement, which is a huge deal. Everybody knows he's one of the best midfielders in the world. And then they just have star boys. They have Wirtz, who's just been on fire recently for Bayern Leverkusen, and Musiala, who's obviously one of the best young players in the world right now, 19 years old. I just think Germany, being the host nation, is a huge deal for them too. Like it's pretty much a home game for them every game. All their fans are going to be there, and it's tough. It's tough to play against a team that's going to be at home all year. All tournament. Like a small fact, whoever's been the host nation in the Euros has at least gone to the semis almost every single time. There's only 2 times that they haven't gone. So I just think Germany, with their firepower, with their players everywhere, they got a good defense. They've got a mixture of young up and comers. And veterans. I just see them taking this group.
Are you trusting this guy right here, Kai Havertz? I mean, listen, the thing is, they're loaded, Chase. I mean, you look up and down this roster, 2 of the best keepers in the world, and Neuer and Ter Stegen. Defensively loaded there, Rudiger, Schlotterbeck, Tah, Kimmich. I mean, loaded there, midfield. The talent that they have there creatively, unbelievable. We talked about also the maturity, the veteran leadership they have with a Gundogan, with a Kroos, right? I mean, you mix that in with these young guys we're talking about. But this is the only position right here, the forward spot, that is a little bit interesting to me. And are they going to be able to get the production out of that spot? Will it matter? Do they need it with the other talent they have behind them? Maybe not, but I think that's probably my biggest question.
Yeah, and I mean, I agree to an extent, but I mean, I was one of the guys that kind of became a Havertz fan this year. Like he started off the year rocky. There was a lot of people saying that was the worst signing that Arsenal could have made, but he didn't. I mean, he turned good in the end of the year. Like the last couple of months, he was scoring and assisting. And even before that, like when he was with Chelsea, I've always felt like for Germany, he does play really well with them and within that system. And let's be real here, like he doesn't necessarily need to score all the goals. He's got the guys on the wings that could score and an attacking midfield, you know. So I do think it's a bit of a weakness, but at least he brings some defensive part of his game too. And this group, even though it is going to be a tough group, I feel like Germany is just too good compared to the rest of the group, you know. So they should be fine, but once they get past that, you know, who knows, you know. But yeah, I mean, Germany, like I said, star power everywhere. I mean, what are you going to do about it? Like Hungary, Switzerland, Scotland, they just don't have the stars.
Now, we'll get to the next team here. You just mentioned Hungary not having the stars, and they don't necessarily have the stars, but up until a couple days ago, they lost to Ireland because, of course, they lost because you picked them. But they had not lost right? in a year and a half, right? This is a squad that had not lost since September 2022. Do have a few notable names. Szoboszlai, obviously, for Liverpool. Willy Orban, defensively, right? They have Gulashi in goal. So they have some names that are notable to the European fan. But really, you're talking about a team here that has been very, very successful the last few years internationally.
Yeah, I mean, they just play well as a team. I feel like they have a great like understanding of each other, and they've already played some tough matches in the Nations League. They were in probably one of the hardest groups that I've ever seen, and they still were able to take points off of a couple teams in there, and they're just a great team. Like, and Szoboszlai, I mean, he's not superstar level, but the guy is insane. He has a rocket for a leg, and on the national level, I feel like
he's closer to superstar level at the national level.
Yeah,
I feel like
exactly.
Where he's more like the centerpiece of things, right? And I mean, look at a team so much talent in Liverpool, and I know he did have some injury issues this year, but he's not the focal point.
It's hard. Yeah, it's hard to shine on that team, the Liverpool team. But yeah, obviously on his national team, he's considered a star. To get to the superstar level, though, he's going to have to take it up this tournament. I just think also, I mean, a lot of times national and club is different. You know, the competition and the players that you're playing against are not going to be day in, day out as good as the Premier League. So I think he's going to have a lot more space to operate. But also they're defensively, they just have that mindset too. I feel like they like to be the underdog. They like to be, you know, a team that goes up and plays big versus big teams like Germany, which Germany, they didn't lose to in the qualifying. They drew them and they beat them. So, I mean, they do have the guts. They do have the team ability to take some points in this group, and I don't think they're scared of Germany. I feel like, you know, they've beaten them. They beat England 4-0, which is, I mean, I know England's squad was a little heavily rotated, but that was the biggest loss they've had in Wembley and who knows how long. I think it was 10, 15 years, you know. So I just think a lot of people are underrating this Hungarian team. I've talked to people and they're like, oh, you like Hungary? I was like, yeah, I like Hungary. You know, like this is a team. This is a good team, and I expect them to do something, and get out of this group. And when they go to the knockouts, I wouldn't want to be the team that plays them. You know,
Milos Kerkez is another guy who is one of my favorite star boys.
He's great.
Bournemouth,
yeah.
So he gives them some juice up the left wing there. You know, coming from that fullback spot, but keep it moving here. I think that's going to be a very tough out here in this tournament. But next up, Scotland, right? And this is, again, another team that has it's going to be a tough out, obviously. Steve Clark as coach, but they have some talent when you look at this roster from top to bottom. Really strong in the midfield, though. And then notable names defensively, you know, Andy Robertson, obviously, Kieran Tierney, and then we talked about that midfield, Billy Gilmore, John McGinn, your boy Scott McTominay, Christie from Bournemouth. So not a bad squad here, but do they have the firepower ultimately?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like a lot of people like this team. I'm just kind of like, I'm kind of down on them right now. I'm not bullish at all. They do have a decent team, but I feel like in qualifiers they started hot, but they kind of started tailing off in the end, and they do have a couple injuries, and they're not playing at home. This is in Germany, and their greatest asset, I think, during the qualifiers was them playing at home. Playing there in Scotland it's a crazy crowd. It's a nice distance away from a lot of countries, so there was a lot of travel involved for visiting teams. And I just don't think they have. I mean, their strikers aren't that great. I like Billy Gilmore. Don't get me wrong. I love Billy Gilmore. I love Andy Robertson. Tierney has, he fell off a little bit, but he's still a good center back now. I just don't like it's going to be a hard group for them. I don't think they match up well with any team. Hungary, I feel like, can exploit them in the midfield and defensively. And when you can get exploited defensively and with your midfield, you have to score goals. And I just don't see them scoring that many goals versus Hungarian defense or Switzerland defense or Germany. So I'm not really sold on them. They might surprise me, and I see a lot of people actually really like them. I just don't see it from them this tournament, and they've been on a losing streak. I don't think they've won had at least a key win in the last 10, 11 matches.
Well, they finished second in their qualifying group behind Spain. 18 points in 8 matches, and they actually beat Spain 2-0 as well, which was.
But they did that at home. So I mean, again,
big difference.
And then when they went away to Spain, they lost 2-0. They lost to England 3-0 on the road. I mean, again, they have pieces, and there's some names there that you're like, okay, wow, they have this player, and they're playing pretty big Premier League teams, but can they get it done as a team? I don't know. I don't see it. Not in this group. Like, this group is tough. This group is tough.
No easy.
I have to pick somebody to get last place in this group, and I'm thinking it's this one.
So the final group, Switzerland, head coach Murat Yakin, and listen, another team you just mentioned, recognizable names, right?
Yeah.
Jan Sommer at keeper. You go through the list here. Fabian Schär, Newcastle man, Akanji, Mbabu at right back. So they have some guys, right? But midfield offensively, Granit Xhaka. You understand this, the season he had for Leverkusen, Dennis Zakaria, Shaqiri, a name from the past that everyone knows and loves, right? But I don't know how much to expect from him at this point. And then, to me, the forward spot, Noah Okafor, star boy. A lot of people excited about him, but has not scored a goal in 7 appearances. Did not score a goal in 7 appearances during qualifications. So, can you count on him to be the bagsman? A lot of questions with this side, some notable names, but I don't necessarily see it all coming together for them here.
Yeah, and I mean, Switzerland, they always find a way. I feel like they always find a way to qualify out of the group, whether it's second or third place. I think they're an aging team, and of course Shaqiri, as their talisman in the past, he's getting up there in age. He's not really doing he's doing all right in MLS. He's not necessarily setting MLS on fire, but they do have something similar to Hungary, where they have a good cohesion as a team. They do have players like you named a bunch of great players. And I think they just have a little bit more than maybe a Scotland. They have a better defense. Sommer is a class goalkeeper. Last Euros, he put on a display. And it's just something. It's something about having, these veterans there. They've been there. They know how it is to play a Euro. They know the Euro game. They've already gotten out of qualifiers a few times in Euro. So I just think this team is good. Is it good enough to beat Hungary? Is it good enough to beat Germany? I think they could give them games. I think maybe they could take a point off of Hungary, but are they going to be able to dominate any team in this group? I don't think so, but they do have a solid group, and they just won their last game, last friendly, and I just don't see them overtaking like a Germany or a Hungary, but they have a solid team, and I think they're better than Scotland. A
Granit Xhaka, for example. We were just talking about a Szoboszlai who is going to, I think, shine at this stage, right? And is in a different role now.
Yeah.
You'll see more out of him. But Ajaka, I think he's someone that's like, he needs some speed around him. He needs some guys that he can work with around him.
Yeah.
He can control the pace of the game, obviously, but I just don't see them with the pace to be able to get out and counter against some of these teams.
Yeah, I mean, his strength too is, I mean, he's a great midfielder. Also, it's his mentality. You know, like he's got that winning mentality, elite mentality that the Swiss have. So, I mean, I think this group is tough. It's tough to predict. But
we're gonna try to do that right now. So let's get right into it, Chase. We'll start. What we're going to do is, we'll go through your picks, and then I will chime in if I have anything different or any other comments. But we will start right here at the top. I don't think it's a surprise who you'll have in the first spot here.
Yeah, I'm going with Germany. Germany to win this group. Again, cream rise the top. They're also playing at home, the home field advantage. Can Hungary give them a scare? Maybe, but I think, Germany's just too good up and down. And then for the second pick, I got Hungary. Yeah, I just see Hungary. They're marginally better than these teams, and they do have like some up and coming stars. But I just think as a team, they've proved it that, I mean, at least recently with their results, that they could beat the better teams and they could beat the smaller teams, which a lot of teams, can play up to good competition, but it's hard for them to dominate a smaller team. I just think they have both. And I think they take points off of Switzerland and Scotland. I think they beat Scotland, and they could either beat or tie Switzerland and maybe take a point off Germany. So I think they go through. And then for third, I have Switzerland. Again, they're good. Are they good enough to beat Hungary and Germany? I don't think so. But they could take a point off one of them, and I see them beating Scotland. So from that, they might be able to qualify, because 4 teams qualify as third place to go into the knockouts in each group. And I think they might be able to get enough points to qualify. I think they do beat Scotland. So that's just my thoughts on that. And then the fourth, I have Scotland. I don't know. I see Scotland maybe taking 0 in this group. I mean, it's a tough group for them. They don't match up well. They, like you said, they have players, but I mean, I just don't see it. They haven't been in good form. They don't have the players. They have some injuries. They're not performing.
Yeah, I don't see them getting points. I don't see them getting points off Hungary or Germany.
Yeah.
I think my only difference would be maybe switching Scotland, Switzerland. Switzerland, you're right. Maybe they have a chance to take points off Hungary. Maybe they get a draw there. Listen, I'm not counting it out that they can't beat them, right? Because they do have some quality there. But it's going to come down to that game between Scotland and Switzerland.
Yeah.
I think that's a toss-up. But, man, this just speaks to how difficult this group really is, top to bottom. You obviously have the host country, and, man, it's not an easy group for the host country. We expect them to go through, but at the same time, they're going to be tested, and it'll be interesting if they win the first 2 games. I don't know who their first 2 games are against, but the third game, do they rest some guys? If the group's locked up, how does that come into play, right? So
it's not like Germany's been setting the world on fire either. Once they got Nagelsmann, I mean, they did change, and it felt like they started beating some good teams. But before that, they've been like, on this they've been lost in limbo almost. Like, their team hasn't necessarily set the world on fire. They didn't do too well in the World Cup, and the World Cup before that, they didn't do well. So, I mean,
I think for me, it's the emergence of Florian Wirtz, right? Ta at center back, Musiala continuing to come of age. Like, Wirtz and Musiala are like world class. So like those guys, I think, are ready, and I think that's why this will be a different team. And again, the Nagelsmann effect will be important.
Yeah, I think we're projecting them to be great. I mean, they, like, the last couple games, they've been really great. So that's just how we see it. Like, they do have the youngins. that are coming up, and they're going to be world-class stars for whatever team they go to next. I mean, Musiala is already balling at Bayern, and I just think, yeah, I mean, they even though they started off the year pretty bad, and the year before, it's a new coach, it's a new mentality. They have a lot of pressure on them, and they're playing at home. So I just think all those factors add up for them winning this group.
All right, that's the Group A breakdown here from Group Chat Sports. Remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and check out not only all of the other group breakdowns we're doing, but our big gambling picks podcast that will be dropping a couple days before the Euros officially start. And that's where you're going to want to really check out Lotto Row. We're going to be doing some Golden Boot predictions, some player of the tournament, some young player of the tournament, all sorts of fun stuff.
Yeah, we'll have some long shots too.
And listen, that's what this is all about, right? So Group Chat Sports, welcome to the group chat. Appreciate everyone for joining us today.